In a future not so far from our own, the sky bled a perpetual crimson. Our cities, once beacons of progress and monuments to human ambition, now stand as skeletal remains against a backdrop of despair. The architects of our downfall were not from amongst us, but from the silent, star-strewn void. They came on ships that blotted out the sun, casting long, predatory shadows that danced over the ruins of our world. We called them the Others, the Voidwalkers, the Star Reapers. Their true names we never knew. We only knew the silence they brought, a silence that swallowed screams and prayers alike. This is the story of the fall. Not just the fall of our skyscrapers or our governments, but the fall of our very essence, our humanity. It began with whispers, then became a roar that shook the foundations of our civilization. When they first arrived, we fought. Oh, how we fought. Our armies, our advanced weaponry. All the might we had amassed over centuries of conflict amongst ourselves, it was all but dust in the wind against them. Their technology was like magic, their tactics incomprehensible. They didn't just defeat us, they dismantled us, piece by piece, hope by hope. Now, in the rubble-strewn arteries of what was once New York, or London, or Tokyo, the names barely matter anymore. We scavenge. The grand struggle for survival has been reduced to a pathetic, desperate scramble for a can of preserved food, a clean bottle of water, a sheltered corner to wait out the acid rain that falls from the alien terraformers. The enemy is not just the towering shadow that might round the corner at any moment, but the person next to you. Your neighbor, your friend, a stranger whose eyes hold the same gnawing hunger as your own. We've seen the worst of it, a mother turning on another for a child's worn-out shoes, brothers fighting to the death over a stale loaf of bread. The Others broke our spirit, and in the cracks, the ugliest parts of our own nature began to fester and grow. There was one person we looked to, one flicker of defiance in the overwhelming darkness. His name was General Marcus Thorne. He had led the last organized resistance, the man who rallied the broken remnants of Earth's armies for one final, glorious, and ultimately futile stand. When the fighting stopped and the true occupation began, Thorne became the de facto leader of the largest surviving human enclave. He negotiated with the Others, securing meager rations and a semblance of order in our sector. To us, he was a hero, a symbol that humanity had not been entirely extinguished. We trusted him, put our lives and the future of our species in his hands. That was our gravest mistake. The whispers started again, but these were different. Not of alien terror, but of human betrayal. Rumors of secret meetings, of pacts made in the dead of night. No one wanted to believe them. How could Thorne, our bastion of hope, consort with the very beings who had enslaved us? I had to see for myself. One night, cloaked in the perpetual twilight of our ruined world, I followed him, moved like a ghost through the labyrinthine alleys of the lower city, his face a mask of grim determination. My heart pounded a frantic rhythm against my ribs, a drumbeat of fear and dawning horror. He stopped in a dead-end alley, a place where the shadows were thickest, where the stench of decay hung heavy in the air. For a moment, there was nothing but the sound of the wind whistling through the skeletons of buildings. Then, a shadow detached itself from the Others. It wasn't a trick of the light. It was tall, impossibly so, its form shifting and indistinct, a silhouette of pure dread. Another. It towered over Thorne, who, for all his military bearing, looked small and fragile before it. There were no words spoken, at least none that my human ears could comprehend. There was only a gesture. Thorne reached into his coat and pulled out a small object. It pulsed with a soft, ethereal blue light, a data chip, one of ours. It contained everything, the locations of the last hidden strongholds, the genetic codes of the few remaining fertile humans, the blueprints for our most secret communications network. It was the sum total of all our remaining hope, all our secrets, our very soul. He held it out. The other extended a limb that was both elegant and terrifying, its spindly appendages unfolding to accept the offering. As the chip passed from human hands to alien claws, I felt something break inside me. It was a feeling colder and more final than any fear I had ever known. The quiet click as the chip was secured was the sound of a death sentence for an entire species. The alien entity seemed to nod, a slow, deliberate movement of its featureless head. It then dissolved back into the shadows from whence it came, as if it were never there at all. Thorne stood alone for a long time, his back to me. The blue glow of the data chip was gone, swallowed by the darkness. He didn't move. He just stood there, a statue carved from regret and treason. When he finally turned, his face was illuminated by the faint, sickly red glow of the sky. It was a face I no longer recognized. The hero was gone. In his place was a man hollowed out, his eyes reflecting the ruins around him, cold and conflicted. Was it for power? For his own survival? Or did he believe in some twisted way that he was saving us by sacrificing us? I didn't wait to find out. I slipped away. The image of that exchange burned into my mind. The next day, the consequences became clear. The sky, which we thought couldn't get any more crowded, filled with new ships. Sleek black vessels that descended not with the slow menace of the first wave, but with a swift, surgical precision. They moved on the hidden enclaves, the secret shelters. The locations Thorn had sold. There were no negotiations this time, no taking of prisoners. There was only silence. A systematic, chillingly efficient eradication. From his command post overlooking the shattered city, General Thorn watched it all unfold. He watched as the last lights of human resistance were snuffed out, one by one. I can only imagine what he was thinking as he gazed upon the fruits of his betrayal. Did he see a new order? A painful but necessary step towards some kind of future, however bleak? Or did he finally understand the true price of the pact he had made in that dark alley? The price was not just a data chip. The price was everything. He had become the architect of our final silent end. He had traded our future for a moment of peace, a bargain with the devil in the dark. And as more alien ships descended from the blood-red sky, turning our world into their own, we, the last few survivors, were left to grapple with the most devastating truth of all. We were not just conquered by an enemy from the stars, we were sold out by one of our own. The greatest threat to humanity was, and always had been, itself. Thank you for watching. Story is a dark reflection on trust, survival, and the choices we make under pressure. What would you have done in Thorn's position? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoy explorations into these complex, thought-provoking futures, please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell for more content like this. Stay curious and stay safe.